We're at Module 4, which is specifically focused on our global business simulation. Get it? Global business simulation. It's Glo-Bus for short. And that's what we'll be talking about. I am very pleased to have this as a learning opportunity for you. This is a very good simulation of many different decisions that as managers of international businesses you would have to make. Our Kettering teams often do very well nationally in the United States in the rankings. I am really happy to have my guest with us because he did the best, I think, of everybody in the United States last year with his work. You're going to receive a registration code. Matt, if we could zoom into the pad, please. This is what their card will look like, so be careful. It should be packaged with your textbook somewhere in that package. It's very small, see? Don't lose it. On the back here, you'll see at the bottom is a registration code. So when you go online to Glo-Bus, and we're both going to talk a little bit about that, there'll also be instructions in your syllabus. You'll need this code as well as the team code that will also be in your syllabus next to your name. Okay, if there's any difficulties, feel free to drop me an email. So our guest speaker is Sagar Patil. He is a friend of mine here at Kettering. Sagar, as this certificate shows, was the industry champion in 2011 in participating in our course in a previous term. Welcome to the course.
Thank you very much.
So what I've asked Sagar to do, because of his expertise, is to provide a briefing for us on Glo-Bus. And after he's done with his presentation, we'll have a little bit of a discussion, and we may have some questions from our colleagues in the audience. So Sagar, I'm turning over control of this section to you.
Sure. Thank you. I'm really glad that I'm able to talk to you about Glo-Bus. Glo-Bus actually is something which will empower you to become a CEO of a company. And you can immediately test out, like each week will be your each year. And you can see the results and you can improve your results. So this will like give you a broader perspective what is happening in international market if you become a CEO of a company, or whenever you are like after this course, as you're taking international business, when you're out in the industry, you will know about this, that these things matters, like the decision related to manufacturing, then finance, marketing, HRM, social initiatives, stock values, each and everything matters into international market. And this Glo-Bus will let you know how it reflects into the performance of a company. And it has also taken into consideration exchange rates, which varies for each and every year, and how it is related with the company's performance. So there are a few things which you must do before starting this game. You will get a practice round, but before that you should read the documentation thoroughly, because this documentation will help you to go through, understand where the company stands in the international market and which decision will affect what. So it is very important to read the documentation, and the company will help you, when you take a decision, it will there is a performance, like projected performance characteristics will be shown. I'll show you, like I have some screenshots which I took during my practice round when I was doing it. So I have that with me. I'll show you that where the changes are and where you should focus on. So like there are 6 kinds of decision which you need to take to run a company as a CEO in Glo-Bus. It is related to the product design, marketing, assembly of like 2 type of products. Now the Glo-Bus is having 2 types of products. One is entry-level cameras and multi-featured cameras. So
just explain a little bit about that.
Entry-level cameras are something like they are low-featured cameras. Like it is just a cheap camera, not very like cheap, but anybody can buy it. And multi-featured camera are something like DSLR cameras, which are like used by professional people. So there are these 2 type of cameras which this company is manufacturing. Then you need to take decisions related to compensation and labor, corporate citizenship, finance, and cash flow. Like this 6 things are there in Glo-Bus. I'll go through each and every like decision screen to just give you an overview of this. This is the product design screen. This is the first screen which you will see when you log in. This is the screen which you will see. Now,
so I would, for people who are watching this from a distance learning perspective, just pull this up on your computer if you can, so you're looking at it while you're watching this lecture.
Can I bring up a pointer here?
Yeah. Should move around like that. So that's it.
Okay. So this is, if you see this part over here, this is the projected year performance part. Whatever decisions you are going to take will affect this screen. So this is your projection for next year. The product designing includes like the expenditure you will spend on R&D. You can make any number of models of each type, but for optimum performance, there is like in the documentation it is referred that how much your team will do best, like 4 models or 6 models or 8 models, total models. So you have to take a decision according to that. Then the next screen is the marketing screen. In the marketing, there are like different continents where you are going to sell this camera. One is Latin America, then North America, Asia. So overall, when you are on this screen, you take decisions related to the advertising, then how much, what are the warranty costs, and means related to your decisions here, you will see that your market share is differing, that your market share will change, which is, I cannot have the pointer now, but yeah, it's fine. You can have a look at this screen, and when you do it, you will figure it out. Then there is the assembly decisions. Every year you get 10% extra, like you can produce 10% of the market demand. So you have to decide which quarter you have to make it 10% more. On the previous, like if you have taken decisions for 6th year or 7th year, you go back and see in the 6th year that in 6th year there is something like you were out of stock. Like you produced like 100 cameras, but market demand was like 150. So you lost the business of 50 cameras. So you can produce 10% extra. So you have to go through and see that where you can produce it, and which region also. Which region is also important, and it is for both, like the entry level camera and the multi-featured camera, the assembly thing. Then compensation and labor. Compensation and labor is a very important point, because if you keep your employees happy, you can get more producibility from them. So they are more productive. So you should not give them too much. Means you should see the change in the performance screen, that if you give them like 10% extra, 10% bonus, and like attendance bonus or something like that, what is the changes? What are the changes in the projection screen? Then labor force decisions are also there. In this labor force decisions, it is like you can outsource few products because you don't have that much like producing capacity. In like 3rd quarter or 4th quarter, you can get more demand, but you don't have that much facility. So you have to outsource that production to another company. So you should try to minimize that, and you can see the changes in the performance like projected year. Then this is the corporate citizenship. Corporate citizenship is like how much charitable donations you do. Then are the products like energy efficient? You can enroll into like green program or something like that. Do it only when like you are producing surplus profits. Don't do it like from the start, because this will help you to raise your image rating for the company. But if you are not producing that much profits, then it will not make, like, you will go down in your profits and your making image. Your image is good, but you are not making profit, so it will not make a sense. So think like that. When you are making more profits, like after 2 or 3 years, then get involved in the corporate citizenship. Then finance and cash flow. Now you will always have loan from a bank or like a financial institute. So you will have a line of credit, and how you are paying regularly for that line of credit is very important to maintain your credit rating. If you have like a A+ credit rating or something like that, you will automatically get a lower interest. And the last thing about this is related to equity. You can buy back the shares, or you can issue more shares. So you have to make a decisions accordingly, looking at your this projected year performance screen. What is going to help you, means how you want the company to do. And when you are making really good profits, you should also distribute dividends, because shareholders need it. If you are making a lot of profit and you are not giving it to your shareholders, means I don't think this will have a lot of effect in the projection, but it will automatically increase your image rating and improve a goodwill. Means if I would have been a CEO of this company, means I was there for like 15 years and I took decisions, so it will means make a goodwill among all the people here. Then after that, what to do after the results arrive? Like you have taken all the decisions, you submitted it. There is a deadline to submit this. When you submit this, immediately after like 1 hour, you can see the results. And when you are reviewing the results, you should make sure that you compare it with each and every year you are doing it. What is the growth rate of your company? Then you must also see that the demand, what I was talking to you about, like if you are out of stock, or if your product is still lying in the godowns of like your resellers or distributors. So you should make sure that you are not overproducing or underproducing. So this is going to help you. And this is like, these were the statistics of, it's not displayed properly here because of some technical issues, but when I was taking decisions, I named my company as my own company's name. I have a company back in India, which is called Credence Corporation. And here I achieved best in the industry performance, and I was among the top 3 in the world. Like there are, if you see, there is a chart in the right hand side which shows that I have the 120 out of 120 score, and overall of 110 out of 110 score, which is like you cannot go beyond that. That is the last thing. And these are the parameters which I had. The share price, like when I took over the company, the share price was $30, and when I was there, I raised it to like $404. EPS is earning per share. It was $2.15, and I raised it to $20.09. The ROE is return on equity, means whatever you give it to your shareholders. It was 15%, and I made it to 59.3%. Credit rating was B+, I made it to A+. Revenue I generated, like when I came to the company, it was 200 million, and when I at the end, it was 900 million in the company. So what did I do wrong? Like only one place I did wrong was I was in the flow, and I was increasing the production like rapidly, and I increased the capacity, and during year 11 and 11 to 15, there was like a slow rate of growth of company. So my machines were standstill, and much of my capital was blocked. So this is what I did wrong, but other than that, I did pretty okay. I know this course is being recorded for this term, and means the people in the summer term as well as summer, fall and winter will also take this course. So I am here on campus till winter 2013. So this is my email address. You can contact me anytime if you want. and that's all about Glo-Bus. And I tried my best. First time I am on this side, so
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous. Thank you.
That's, thanks, Art. Thank you very much for your work. You know, I realized that, you know, I was a management consultant, but I think that based on the fact that Sagar got a perfect score of 120 out of 120, he still thinks there was room to improve. He's created a new industry for himself, which is management simulation consultant. So I was going to joke about that, but that's very nice of you to offer to our students if they have a question about it, to contact you. I'd like to take a little time to discuss some of what Sagar has shared with us, and then take some questions from the group if you have some things that you'd like to ask about as well. So I'm going to page up here a few slides. So I just want to, on the screen here, we see that these 6 major types of decisions that are made, and we saw the screen for each of them. Sagar basically competed at a point in the course where he was working by himself on this, and clearly that didn't hurt him too much. But now that you will have teams of between 4 and 5 people on every team, what I suggest you do is you talk to among yourselves and find out what are you particularly strong in. So I'm pretty sure that when you heard him talk about the decisions that he made, he used words that you're not familiar with, perhaps dividend, the different topics around production and so on. So this is a learning experience. I don't expect you to get perfect scores like our friend Sagar. What I do expect you to do is do your best in making these decisions, and that's why you get the 15% or the 15 points possible grade for your final presentation. Because what we want you to do is see how you did through the course of the decisions, track that, and then there's going to be an easy outline about what I want you to do in your presentation. You can divide up the work. So if you have someone who's in charge of marketing, you know, you have a marketing course in your background and that's what you enjoy, you volunteer to handle the marketing issues, so you're going to be an expert on that. I would also expect that you would be the person who presents the marketing at the end of the course. If there's a topic that you would like to learn more about, for example, this idea of corporate citizenship or the product design, I noticed at least one person on our surveys said that they were interested in getting into design. That would be a great place for you to volunteer to work as well. Just some quick points here. Let's just discuss what each involves. So the product design are choices about what is going to go into the camera. And this, as we mentioned, every week is a year. So you're really working through many years of development on this camera. The marketing, what kind of choices do you make? How do you go about that? What is the approach to it? We talked a little bit about the fact there's 2 types of camera. So you have to make some choices about the assembly and the quantities of the cameras. How many are you going to sell of each type? Compensation is the pay. How much do you pay people? What kind of the benefits? Sagar talked about bonuses that you can give the employees as well for doing a good job, if there's profitability, or you know, they all start talking. You know, imagine that you were making things for Apple and everybody's upset and they're talking about moving to another company. You want to make sure that you can deliver high quality products to Apple in the quantities that they're expecting. So over time, over these years, you may have to increase the amount of pay you give to people as well as the benefits and other compensation that you offer to them. And then again, finance and cash flow. You'll see how that works. Sagar's first tip, I think, was very good. Read through the documentation about this. There's plenty of documentation online at the Glo-Bus site. It's written in very easy to understand terms. In their slide deck, the PowerPoint that you'll receive when you download, there's about 30 slides that describe features of the game as well. So it's kind of summarized for you there. If you look at those, in addition to the screenshots that Sagar has shown you tonight, you'll get a good feeling for how they interact. So my thought when I looked at this is that it takes a very complex kind of topic with all these different decisions, and it makes it easy to understand it on each one of these dashboard screens. Sagar showed you, for example, on that marketing screen where there's a real place to zoom in your attention and you can see summarized how you're doing. At the end of each week, he mentioned about an hour after you finish submitting your results, the computer tabulates it and it makes it available to you to see. So you get to see pretty much the same day you put them in what they are. On the handout I gave you, this sheet, Okay, you'll notice that, again, in that Glo-Bus year and due date, where it says due date, for example, let's look at this second week there, year 6. So by April 15th, you're expected to get onto Glo-Bus, get registered, talk with your team. Okay, so use Skype or conference call. If you go to the website, I'll do this, free conference call.com. You can sign up for a free service and it will provide you with a number that you can use and in the United States, I think in the United States and Canada, and some information about a passcode. So what you do is anytime you want to have a call, let's say you have 2 or 3 people together, you can use this service. You need to pay for your cell phone minutes, obviously. It's not free. But this is a quick way to have a call with multiple people, especially if you're not all on Skype. Skype, I think, is the best way to do this. Video Skype is available, plus group Skype. And in group Skype, you can have typically up to 4 or 5 people on at once. If you do that, I recommend that you use a LAN cable to plug into a network if you can do that. If you're in a place with a good wireless LAN, that'll also work. If you have trouble getting good quality, you can skip the video side of it. You might get better quality if you just do the audio and talk through it. Okay, so that's a little bit about how you can be talking with your team. Again, so if we look at our handout, we see that on the April 15th, by midnight of April 15th, okay, so that's a Sunday, all of these dates are Sundays, you should have your decisions made into the system. So what do I really expect you to do? I expect you to watch the video, have a team meeting sometime, preferably between Tuesday and the Sunday night, and make your decisions. I think it's a fun game. I think you're going to enjoy it. We get a lot of positive feedback about people who have done well in it, as well as people who have found it a learning experience and not necessarily a personal satisfaction experience about how well they did, because maybe the next time you get a chance to do the game, you'd do better. So I think that this has a lot of potential for you to take what we learn in the chapters and apply it to the simulation. One of the reasons why it's only 5 points is because some of the information that would be helpful to you to do well in Glo-Bus, you won't learn until a month and a half or 8 weeks from now. So that is why we're looking at that final presentation to sort of tie together some of the important themes that you learn from the lectures, from our guest speakers, and from doing Glo-Bus. We learn and we put it together at the end. So do not be frustrated if you get to the screen where it talks about finance and cash flow next week and you have no idea what they're talking about. Look at the Glo-Bus reference materials, but also understand that as we discuss it in class, you'll have a much better perspective on what that means and how to use it. Feel free to use the book. I am not going to be upset if you take our book and you page into these sections ahead of the class where we actually discuss it and use it as a reference in doing your Glo-Bus work. That's perfectly okay. Sagar, any other thoughts on what I just said, how to use the course?
Actually, I took this course in my first term. I was not knowing finance or anything like that. But when you do it, you actually see the results, and when you go through the documentation, like the terms are very easy to understand, and once eventually after 1 or 2 rounds, you will be perfect and you can do well, I think.
Very good. So questions? Stacy, I can see there's a burning question on your mind.
Well, it's just interesting to me from the standpoint that does the background information give you some insight into the philosophy of how the game is wired? And what I'm saying is there's many different ways to run a company and be successful, like the Apple model, where obviously heavy investment in research and development is what led to their position as the philosophy of that company. So if the program is written by Apple, you'd have to know the background story that they want you to dump tons of money in R&D, right? But say the simulation was written by a different kind of a company that's one of the imitators in the marketplace, like a Logitech or somebody like them, who's also very successful, but if they wrote it, obviously you'd need to know that the secret philosophy behind it is don't spend a ton of money on R&D, but mimic your competitors, but do a better job to be successful. So how did you get the insight for what type of philosophy? I'm guessing it's probably a middle-of-the-road philosophy in most of those decisions, but do you have any feedback in that area?
Actually, the decisions which I took means first I had in my mind that Asia was really bad market for me, and entry level cameras are like very cheap cameras. So what I did, like I had two strategies. For the top, like the multi-featured cameras, because professionals are going to buy it, so I kept the prices like way high than the market average, because people will spend, and I spend more on R&D for that cameras. Like I had two sections now. The multi-featured are like high section, and these are like the cheap section. When the market average for entry-level camera was around $170, I was selling it at $80 and still making a profit, because I was using some like not very good parts in it or something like that, but people want to have it, so it automatically boosts my sales for that. So like whatever strategy you have, I think this simulation accommodates that.
And the fact is, there are going to be 5 or 6 teams. There'll be all sorts of different approaches to this. Some will focus on low-cost cameras in developing countries. Sagar's approach of doing top, end cameras, because he thought that there was price elasticity for people who wanted the higher functions, is also a valid approach. I think what will happen is, as you go through the 2 practice rounds, so remember the first 2 times you do this, in weeks 2 and 3, you will have an opportunity to just sort of practice with these decisions. Look what happens, as Sagar mentioned, to your results. You'll get that feedback immediately about what were the impact of those decisions that you made. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Sagar, thank you very much.
Sure.
I'm going to put your slide up with your contact info just again. And there you have it. So Sagar's email address, I'll just read it out for, it's pati3247@kettering.edu. And if you notice, behind Sagar's presentation in the PowerPoint deck, you will find these 30 slides of additional information about how the game is run, how is it scored, how to register for it, and so on. So feel free to use those. Sagar, I would like to thank you again for coming in, for being our Glo-Bus strategy management consultant. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of Module 4. So we will continue on with the rest in our lecture in the next module.